Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's the end of the week, and this is How to App on iOS, and my name is Jade. And today we've got a really cool interview with Thomas Geleyn. We're going to be talking music. Without further ado, we are going to get into one of his songs. So sit back, grab your tea, coffee, alcoholic beverage, whatever you're drinking, and enjoy.
Seen them with their bellies full. Oh, and
Let's start that again, shall we? Sorry about that, everybody.
to blow it up to smithereens. They say when we are out there, we'd get broken, bruised, twisted, stabbed and abused, pulled apart, twisted inside out. Like a dough, we'll get baked and eaten alive. Oh, is it really true? Oh, I think I found it out. Oh, they're the wolves, and we are the sheep. You've seen them with their bellies full. Oh, and I think I can hear them sharpen their knives. Oh, we are next. Oh, I'm gonna blow it up. Blow it up to smithereens. I've got the fuse and I've got the nerve. They're all smoke and mirrors, fragile and breakable. We will see what they're made of. Tonight I'll plan my great escape, and we will see our friends again. Soon.
Hello, how you going, everybody? Well, pretty impressive for a debut song that has been released by our special guest today, Thomas Geleyn. So I'm going to ask Thomas to unmute his microphone right now, and I can bring him into the chat. Let's see, can we do... Sorry for the technical difficulties as well. G'day, Thomas, how you going?
I'm doing fine, Jade, thanks.
Yay! Hey, we got here in the end, hey? It's been exciting the last 12 hours.
Yeah, it was. You gave me quite a scare.
Yeah, so just for some context, to give you all a bit of a fun story to start off with, I woke up yesterday at about 7 p.m, not knowing it was 7 p.m, and it was actually thinking it was 7 a.m, and I got all ready and set everything up for 8 o'clock to start the show and messaged Thomas and went, "We're ready to go," and then looked at the time and went, "Oh shit, I'm 12 hours early." That's because I was sick yesterday, and I think Thomas shit himself completely. But
I was like, I'm at home, what am I supposed to do?
You were at work, weren't you?
Yeah. I was like, I can't pick up now.
No, just quit your job. It'll be cool.
Hey, boss. I'm just having a call real quick.
Yeah. So I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Looks like we've got a full house here today. I can see. I should scroll up quickly and have a look, see if I can catch everybody. We've got Bubba in the house, LC Music Tracks, Scott, Tom Rochelle, Rockhard Music, SM Borthwick, Darren Bryant, Stu Cash, Adphone, is that how you say it? Adphone. Phone. Let's just go with that. So, look, welcome everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We've got this great artist here today, and we're also giving away at the end of the show some codes to a really cool guitar app. So, Thomas, let's get down to it. What does music mean to you, my friend?
Well, music, I've always been, like, if you could ask people around me who are in all kinds of different music styles, some are into metal, some are into reggae, some are into, very different kinds of styles. I was always more like steered towards the more calm music, and I think that's what always, has kind of set me apart in my friends group.
Yep.
When I showed a song, it's for people who like want to hear more intense songs or like more like the rock songs of these days, and I let them hear something by Radiohead or something, which is more like emotional wailing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it sets me apart. But what I always what music means to me, to make it. It's recently become a freedom. I used to make covers when I started out. It's how I actually learned how to play the piano, and I found a lot of freedom in that too. But I was confined by what the original song was. I didn't have the knowledge to build up on things. As I got as I progressed more into making covers, I was thinking how can I like add a different instrument to like add an extra harmony to certain covers. But it was still, in the same line of the cover. It wasn't something that didn't exist before. It's a cover.
Yeah.
And now with this first song I made, I made a few musical pieces by myself, but this is actually the first thing that I'm really like standing behind, that I made myself, and that is actually freedom to me. I can think freely about notes, about chords, about progressions, about instruments, even, and what to use. And it's it's like a playing field. It's a playing field for me.
Well, you truly have an absolutely unique sound. Like, we're a part of the GarageBand users group, and
Yeah.
I hear a lot of unique music in that group, but it's like my listening taste. So I'll just put this out there. Something's got to really grab me by the tits to really like make me download it and really focus on it. And you know, your song has really stood out in the group, I believe, as totally unique. So, and I wanted to ask you about growing up in Belgium and the music scene there.
Yeah.
Like, how, like, I just don't know how it would differ from like the rest of the Western world, or like, what was that kind of like? Like, is the styles of music in Belgium? Or?
Well, to be honest, I actually hate the music that the Belgians produce. Like in Dutch, like in our language, I can't hear a song. Like I practically ever like a song in my own language. I never do.
Right.
It's like it's English or something that I couldn't understand, like Sigur Ros or something. But yeah, Dutch music, no thanks. We've got this, in my opinion, horrible genre. It's called Schlager music. Can't stand it. It's like
I love it.
No, I just can't. I'll send you a few examples after the stream, just to get a taste of what it is.
Awesome. I'll trade you for some like some Australiana garbage, like
Yeah.
But
no, most of my musical like most of the music I listened to wasn't actually really Belgium in itself. Most of the music that I liked, I actually discovered myself, and it was more international music. It started out actually the first song that I made that I covered on piano was "Club to Death" by Jade, which is a classic. I think practically everyone who's seen The Matrix knows the song.
yeah.
It's defining piano too. It was the first tune I ever learned to play, which is like, as someone who doesn't know anything about a piano, it's a pretty difficult.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But I had time on my hands, and I really wanted to play it, and I had to get these hands independent from each other, and that song is how it started.
Well, it's really coming through that, I remember the first thing I learnt to do on guitar was to run around the backyard without the guitar plugged in, pretending I was in Iron Maiden. So you did a lot better than me for nailing the first song. So that's really cool. So what artists have been an influence throughout your entire kind of life? What and styles of music as well, if you don't mind me asking.
To begin with artists, I think the genre that always like had like this continuous trend around my preferred music was mostly alternative rock. It started with actually Muse. I think Muse was the first band that I genuinely started following, that I was a big fan of. Of course, I was like 14.
Yeah.
And the really intense riffs and beats and drums and bass lines and epicness, even orchestral actually. The orchestral actually really stuck with me. The alternative rock was the most leading genre throughout it. Muse was my first band that I started following, with a bit of Coldplay in between. Coldplay, their first albums, I actually started listening to them more recently. Because I think their recent stuff is just too mainstream.
Yeah, I agree.
I know I'm the real hipster with the beard, the vape, saying it's too mainstream.
Well, we had a chat like a few days ago about Muse, and how their first two albums, like, and yeah, I'm sure you agree, like they punched me in the face, those two albums. I just couldn't get enough of them. I remember listening to exhausting those two albums just to the extreme, like desperately waiting for the next album to come out. And when the next album came out, hey, it was still cool, but it just wasn't those first two albums, man.
Yeah.
They really smashed that shit. And
Yeah.
so yeah, well, I can definitely see, you've mentioned Radiohead and bands like Coldplay and stuff, and there really is.
If there's one more artist that I would really, really mention, it's Rob Dogan in itself. He has some recent work now, and His first album, Furious Angels, which has like a lot of bits of the Matrix soundtrack on it, but like the original versions and even the vocal versions where he sings, he has this very like raspy voice, a voice not actually fit for singing if you'd hear it at first. But if you keep listening to it, it just fits. He knows how to make his raspy voice fit anything, especially his own style. And recently he has like these very epic orchestral things that he's made, like his most recently released EP, The Life of the World to Come, which is also the name of the first song. That song, I listen to it like every day, every morning, going to my internship. I just couldn't get enough of it.
I'm writing it down.
Really something.
I haven't heard it.
You can't find it. You can't find it anywhere online for streaming. Sadly, you can only get it on his. What is it? It's I forgot. It's like this external site where you can purchase and download songs. It was like, I don't know, was it like €12 for the entire thing? But it's like completely uncompressed. It's really good high quality stuff.
We'll have to exchange the links for that later on. I want to hear that. Like, if that's one of your influences, because I've had your single on. I think I told you I've been to bed a couple of times with it just on repeat, which I do for a lot of people's music and even my own, because hey, we've got to make some money somehow, and there's nothing in.
Thanks for the streams.
There's nothing in leaving just one of your iPads on overnight, just playing a song over and over.
Yeah.
Hey, they can't sue you for it, and so if anybody's out there, do that. Don't be afraid to do that with your own music and other people's music. It's a good thing to do. So when you started playing music, obviously piano's your thing. Was that the first thing? Has there been any other instruments? Do you come from a musical family?
I wouldn't say that I come from a musical family. I've heard that my grandma on my mother's side was a very good singer. I never knew her, but I really, it's something I can get behind, like the stories I've heard. But no, apart from that, not really much musicality in the family. Piano is next to a recorder in school. The first instrument, actually the only instrument that I can play, but thanks to all the apps that you can find on an iPad these days. I'm not only a pianist, I'm also a violin player, I'm also a saxophone player, I'm also, a this and a that. All because of all these AUV3 things, man.
Yeah, damn straight. Yeah.
Just to get things straight. I only play the piano, but if I press a note and a trumpet sound comes from it, no, I'm a trumpetist.
Yeah, well, you are. Well, it takes a lot of skill to do that stuff. It really does. To nail it, to actually make it sound like a real instrument.
Yeah, you have to know what each instrument's place is in a song.
For sure.
Like, if you need to know where certain where the emphasis is.
Phrasings and all that stuff.
The piano.
Yeah. Well, I used to, I say it often. I used to be really ignorant and look at DJs and stuff, or people who make beats, and say that's not music. That's just somebody twiddling knobs. But then here we are in this day and age, and we're using virtual instruments. But it's still, as you said, it takes a lot of skill to actually understand the instrument. You just don't pick up a virtual instrument and nail it. So you're dead right there. So when did you start playing piano?
It was when I was 14, I think. I had this like small Casio keyboard laying under the bed,
nice,
collecting dust for longer than I've been alive.
I bet it still works.
The plug still works. Yeah, the plug still works. And, it didn't have any touch sensitivity, but it did the job just right back then. You can still find videos of it back on my YouTube channel.
Oh wow!
It's with this camera, it's recorded with a camera, and the internal mic of the camera really sucked. It clicked on its own, You could hear like going on. What was that about? But still, it was good back then. And since then, I started like upscaling, and since I, discovered the iPad, sound quality was top notch. But no, I started playing at 14. Um, I could also play the piano in music's class back then at school. So I only had like A pluses back then because all the simple songs you had to learn,
Yeah.
like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. Just A plus all the way.
But it was probably better than Belgian music, yeah? Sorry.
Yeah, if it's in English,
Callback.
yeah. Yeah. No, but it actually I first used this old Casio keyboard that I had, and then I upgraded to a Yamaha PSR E413, I think. It was a keyboard with touch sensitivity, but it was like there weren't any weighted keys or something, which I really got to appreciate when I got my first digital piano. I can't live without weighted keys anymore.
Yeah.
It's really something I need to have. I can't get the sensitivity right if I play on keys that like you just press down without any resistance or something.
What about semi-weighted keys? Can you get by with those?
About what?
Semi-weighted keys? No. Got to be fully.
I'm sorry, you lost me there.
So so you said weighted keys, yeah? On your keyboard.
Yeah.
So my keyboard has semi-weighted keys. So they're
Yeah.
like half-weighted.
Oh,
So it's kind of...
I really couldn't tell the difference. I didn't like check all the manuals. I just use what felt right.
Well, mine kind of feels like a real piano, but it kind of doesn't. So it's like half. It's okay. But
Okay. Yeah.
so creating music. How did you get into actually creating your own music? Like, was there any experience before, like in a studio or anything like that, or was it straight into GarageBand, PC stuff before? How did that all start?
Well, the first thing I actually created was like this. It was actually quite an intense piano piece with really simple chords, but it had like these quick finger movements. So it looks impressive, but it actually isn't. If you just have quick fingers, anyone can play it. But it was the song was called "Chaos of My Mind," which was written by my edgy cringe lord 16-year-old self.
Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still there.
Awesome.
No. But it was the first experience I had with like making my own chord progressions, and I recorded it with the crappy camera, the crappy microphone, but it did the job back then.
Yep.
And then I started to make covers. The covers actually helped me learn a lot of techniques, like arpeggios, like how to play arpeggios, and not to have them like electronically generated. It's just more like classical playing, like Matt Bellamy does in some of his songs of Muse.
Mm-hmm.
All these songs all gave me a little bit more experience, a little bit more knowledge, getting my hands and my fingers more independent from each other. And the last song that I covered, which was a song that Tom York made during the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
And it was called Plasticine Figures.
Yep.
And I made the cover. I'm this guy. If there's a new song coming out and I really dig it, I'd like to make a cover within the next day or two, because I want to be the first guy on YouTube that made a cover of it.
Right, yeah.
And just to train myself to like pick up on these sounds, because I can't read notes. Not that there are any like partitions or something, or like partitures, or I don't know, scores. So I just have to listen to it, and I have to get it in my hands, and I have to play it. There's a certain stress behind it, because I want to be the first guy to make a cover, and I've been the first guy to make a cover 2 times already. No, 3 times actually. But the latest cover that I made of Plasticine Figures it got blocked in over 200 countries.
Nice.
So yeah, I was kind of like feeling a little bit of defeat then because I'm like, nah, I really like put my heart and soul into it. I really wanted to make something nice, but I can't.
It's a
So maybe,
it's a bit of a badge of honor too,
make
though,
something that they can.
because you've kind of nailed it so
Well, I
well.
don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think that, but there are other guys who also made a
Oh,
cover not
really?
too long after I did, and they also got blocked. So yeah, I
Wow.
don't think I'm special in any way whatsoever.
Man, these
Um,
algorithms, they're just torturous, aren't they?
yeah. What is it? The Pan-European digital licensing like blocked the video in over 200 countries.
Wow.
I don't know 'em. I don't know 'em, and they don't know me. What do they want with me?
Yeah. Get my
Leave
name
me alone.
get my name out of your mouths, you scumbags.
Yeah.
So when did you
No, but that.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. So after that happened, I was letting it sit for a while, and I was driving around, and suddenly this tune started popping in my head like da 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 da, and I was thinking, wait, this could be like a really like intense waltz, because it could be the rhythm is 3/4, I think. I'm not a musician. I'm not like I'm didn't go to school for it, something. But it's practically a waltz, and I could like see people like dancing in a ballroom,
Yeah.
like these big dresses, and this bombastic thing going on with chandeliers.
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely get that
I
feeling.
was like thinking, yeah, like it could be a macabre waltz, but a waltz nonetheless.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I got this tune. I just got to remember it, got to play it a few times, just to get it in my fingers so I won't forget it. And then I started building upon that, and then I got to the mid part, like when the part got really intense. And then I started like to make this descending chord progression, and it all started to connect together. I could like smoothly go from one part to another, and I could really see some, I was building this song up, and it was instrumental in the first place. And it was only afterwards that I was thinking about lyrics, which was actually really weird, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to doing it. Even though if you want to do it, fine. There's no rules to anything really.
Nah. So, like, with this new song that your debut song, it's I feel like I've followed it through the group as you've put it together. I mean, I think you released an instrumental version first, then you.
Yes.
I'll make sure I get it right, because I think the first version you put up, you actually changed it after that. So you did a remix version of it. Was there two mixes of it first, or maybe in the group?
Yeah, the first mix, I think. Yeah, the first mix I did was, I think it was way too much, way too bassy.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was something that I was listening to it a lot, and I was getting this ear fatigue, and I couldn't hear the bass as well anymore. So I was just like cranking it up more and more and more until it sounded like just how it was a while before. Somehow it sounds different now. So I was just adding more bass to it, and then I got back to it the next day, and I was listening to it, and I also got some feedback from my friends who said, it sounds a bit too bassy if I play it on my car. The rest of the song doesn't come up as much.
Yep.
Then I was thinking, yes, they're right. Then I just completely remixed it, and what I used to get it right was an app called Dolby On,
Okay.
which is something I really, really recommend everyone to play around with. It's a free app by Dolby. You can use it to live stream music, gets rid of noise. It really puts like this, how do you call it? The entire spectrum of frequencies, like it gets equalized pretty good. It's really something I recommend. I couldn't get like the instrumental version. I decided to give the instrumental version a bit more pop, because the voice is missing. So I can put a little extra oomph in it. And I used Dolby On it for like certain settings. and it sounds like way more crisper than the vocal version, because the vocal version, focuses more on the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
But both are mixed with Dolby On, just different presets, and tweak them around a little bit. It's really something I recommend everyone playing around with. It's free, so
Yeah, I've just got it up on the screen here. If you can see, I've just
yeah.
brought it up. That's the right one, isn't it? And it's free. Is that
Um,
it? Dolby On,
yeah,
record
that's the
audio and video. So there you go, folks. There's a really good way to. There's a good app to check out. That is, I had no idea about that. You know what? Let's do that right now.
like how to get your songs into there. If
One,
you
two.
go in, for people who use GarageBand, I only have experience with GarageBand, so I only can give like advice on that. If you just select the file and export it, Dolby On should be between those apps, and then you can find your exported song in the Dolby app, and then you can tweak it around.
Oh, awesome. Well, I just tried to download it, but it wouldn't recognize my face. Good on you, Face ID. Face ID, boo.
What an insult.
It's the-
What an insult.
That's why I bought the iPhone SE lately, because it had Touch ID. I just refused to upgrade to an iPhone with Face ID. I just hate it. I hate it because just is what it is. So you created this song in GarageBand on iOS, yeah?
Yep. Yes.
And what is it about GarageBand iOS that tickles your fancy to make music?
Well, to be honest, the convenience. If I told you that I've had an iPad for like 5 years before I discovered that I can use GarageBand and connect my digital piano to it, I was really, really struggling. I was really struggling. It actually kind of awakened my passion for music again, because I had like a very long break of making music. And since I discovered GarageBand and the simplicity of the entire program, and me being almost technically illiterate, it's really a godsend.
It is.
And it was only then that I also discovered that there are the only piano that I saw for iOS were like these very basic apps that like fill the screen, and you had like one chord, how do you call it, from A to A,
Yeah.
or something. You had only that. You could like twiddle around on the screen.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I knew that existed, until I discovered Sample Tank.
Yeah.
And Sample Tank has like this, very good collection
Sure.
of
It's an
sounds.
orchestra.
Too bad it's just inter-app audio. Too bad it's not AUV3.
Yeah. And expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. And for the convenience of having AUV3, I think I don't think it's worth it anymore. I think the convenience of AUV3 is just, worth it much more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, and we know that inter-app audio is being depreciated soon, apparently. Well, they're going to fade it out.
Huh.
The one thing I really do hope, and I really like AUV3. I love it if it works. In GarageBand, it's got issues. If you have too many tracks going, you really need a powerful device to get the most out. But even then, I've had crashes from having too many AUV3s open. But I never get that in Cubasis or anything else. So I'm really hoping that, if Apple seriously are going to fade out inter-app audio, then they seriously have to improve GarageBand to make AUV3 really the amazing thing that it can be.
Well, I think the thing that they'll probably do is release a new iPad who does things better.
Of course, yeah.
And we'll just be forced to buy a new.
Yeah, just spend another $2,000 and you'll be right. It'll all work out. We'll add 2 extra gigabytes of RAM. Or maybe 1 or 2, They're so stingy with RAM, Apple.
What a blessing.
That's the one thing I wish Apple would clean their act up with. Just give us 16 gig of RAM. Just do it. Just if you're going to do an iPad Pro, just do it,
exactly.
I want to make music.
Yeah.
I want to go out and talk to other engineers and stuff and have them not roll their eyes when I say I make music on an iPad, because it still
Yeah,
happens.
it could sound cheesy, like if you see all these like big producers, how they what they use. They use all these turntables or like these big machines with all different like sliding knobs and
Yeah.
such. I just have like a little glass pane.
It's a window in your hand, a window to music and
Yeah,
creativity. And as Pete
yeah,
Johns always says too, I mean, it's all zeros and ones in the end. So anybody these days who's going like, "Meh, poo poo to the iPad," is like poo poo to you, dude. Like really, catch
yeah.
up with the rest of the world.
Negative Nancy's.
Yeah, lovely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over and play this other track. So this other video clip. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Castle Hill before I pop it on?
Well, I didn't make the video. I don't know where Castle Hill basically
Mm-hmm.
is. I can tell you about the video though. A few days ago, someone messaged me on SoundCloud, and they said that they used a cover of mine by a cover of the Cinematic Orchestra's "To Build a Home," and they laid it over some very nice drone footage of an old castle. And I'm a sucker for drone footage, like a few other people are. So yeah, it was a really good, spontaneous surprise.
Well, I had
It was really a
I didn't
surprise.
have like the original plan wasn't to play this, but on Ron Ward's show over on GarageBand Users Group, if you're not a member of that, head over to Facebook and search for GarageBand Users Group. He played this track on the weekly show, and all of us in the chat were absolutely just captivated watching it. I don't know if you remember Brian, the co-host. He was just sitting there
Yeah,
like so close to the camera.
yeah,
We were all sitting there going, "Holy shit, this is amazing! This is really cool."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
That's the thing. If you the type of music that I play, it's like this. It's not this kind of music that you go wild to, or something. It's this music that you just it could be used for things where you like sit there and just experience it, not really, and not to sound like I invented hot water or
I
something,
just say
like
it.
where I've
Just say
invented.
it. Just own it.
No, it's just like it's a type of song that's calm.
Yeah,
It's supposed to make you calm,
it's beautiful.
and the images support that tremendously.
All right, well, let's play it. So I'll just turn down this backing music we have going here. And if you want to just mute your mic for this, and I'll
Will
mute
do.
mine and we'll get this playing and everyone can enjoy.
Okay.
Alrighty, let's get back here. You can unmute yourself whenever you're ready. Welcome back. Wow, man. A lot of comments about that. Really love the original of this, and Thomas did a great. Says Scott, great covers. Loving the view. LC Music Tracks. Pete Johns, Drones for the win. SM Borthwick says that's in Yorkshire. Colourful Chords, love the E6 from Bubba. Tom says it's very peaceful. Just down the road, says Stu. And you say so much with so few notes, Thomas, says rock hard music. Wow.
Thanks for the kind words.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot of people who think your music's great. I think your music's absolutely killer. But you already know that. So let's get into what are some... Well, before I do this, I want to know, how was the process for your first time releasing the single digitally? How did that all go?
Well, first I had to decide which platform to use. And, me being still a student, I couldn't really spend any money for a subscription. So there weren't that many choices left. I went for a Muse to release this first single, and they went actually pretty fine. I was pretty skeptical at first because you upload your songs and you know nothing about releasing, and you're thrown into this thing of, okay, what can you do? What can't you do? What are all these rules? Are these companies all legit?
Yep.
And then I've watched a few Pete John's videos, and he used a few of those sites as well. But DistroKid was not an option because you have to pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to get your music out there. So I went with a Muse, and it took approximately 21 days since I sent it all in, since I got all the information verified that everything was correct, and then it was the release date 12th of June, and 2 weeks later it was also released on iTunes and Apple Music. So yeah, that's it's actually been a very good experience, very good learning experience. Just have to see how a Muse works out. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to get into now. Let's have a chat about some apps, because that's what this show is normally about. And I want to know, what are some of the apps that if they were removed from the App Store tomorrow would totally break your heart completely?
Well, to start off, I have a lot of apps.
Good.
I'm not ashamed for that.
Yes.
I like, if I like a few presets of an app and I like what it does, I break the bank. It's the first app that GarageBand, obviously, it's not really a mention. It's a given for a lot of people watching, and for the GarageBand users group, it's a given.
Yep.
But the first app next to GarageBand would be the Ravenscroft 275 piano. I recommend this AUV3 and Interapp audio available app to everyone who asks what is a good piano sound to use. It's one of the best.
Yeah, it's killer.
It's the first time when I bought it, it was 40 euros. I don't know what it is converted into all different kinds of dollars.
It's about $50-$60 here in Australia.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty big investment, but it pays itself off really. It has all these fine details that are picked up very, very finely. You can even hear some snares vibrating in the low end if you pay close attention.
Yeah.
You can even hear and edit the noise of the pedals of like the felts dropping down if you like use a sustain pedal.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You can even hear that.
The creaking
it is.
of the piano. It's like having your grandma's piano in the back room. It's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. So no, the Ravenscroft 275 piano is really a given for me.
Beautiful choice.
I couldn't make my songs and covers sound like they do without it. So if they would delete that,
you could always go back to those other apps, you know, with the original piano apps with, you know, the ones with the optional cat sounds and stuff.
That sound worse than the old Casio.
Meow, 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 meow. I've had a few of those just to like stir up the cat. They love it, the cats. But what else?
There are actually, there are actually YouTube channels out there that like take these really old like toy pianos like for kids, like these cheap electronic little doodads. And they make some legit tunes out of it.
Right.
Like they take the samples out of it and they slow them down, or they do crazy things with it. Amazing. The next app next to Ravenscroft would probably be Beathawk.
Yeah.
And it is not for the DAW that I do it. It's just for the sounds. It has a really extensive sound collection and pretty high quality sounds as well.
Yeah, it does.
I recently purchased the church organ expansion. The piano expansion actually sounds pretty good on this too. I'm actually thinking about playing around with that more because it actually sounds really decent. It couldn't like surpass the Ravenscroft, but it gets pretty damn close, and it's also way cheaper. But yeah.
Yeah, I just downloaded that recently, I think, so I haven't really had a chance to play with it. Again, I'm like you, man. I just download way too many apps.
Yeah. What I would say after that, I have like two effect apps.
Yep.
They are both how would you say it? Reverberation effects.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Shimmer Effects by Four Pockets.
Yeah.
That's also a really good one. Like the first preset where you start out in, amazing. If you combine it with a high quality sound, and you play it like if you play like soft sounds, it really it really makes a sound more than it is.
I'm just searching.
Like really,
It really, there we are. I had to find it in my actually owned apps. I couldn't find. I put Shimmer in. You'll see on the screen. It came with a whole bunch of like My Little Pony games. What the hell? Totally agree though. This thing, man, it adds magic dust to tracks. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Also, the other app that I said, the other reverb app, was an app made by Fred Anton Corvest, the Alteza app. It also has some really nice presets that you can tweak all the different settings around. And I actually used the Alteza app by Fred Anton Corvest for my voice in the single.
Right.
If you pay attention, you could like hear a little delay, but like my voice coming from afar, coming to the foreground.
Yep. After
I sang the word or something, it lingers and it makes it really pop out. So I really like Alteza's app.
Man, I've really got
each in their own regard. Shimmer Effects and Alteza, both pretty good apps.
I've really got to get some of their apps. I think I only own 2 of them. I don't own this one, so I'll have to next pay. I know where that's going.
Like the Alteza app, you can really use it to make like these very elongated, droning noises out of sounds you already have.
Yep.
And you can really make them last long.
Wow.
It's really amazing what you can do with them. The next app that I would like to mention is the Continua app. I think it's by Audio Damage. I'm not sure. The Continua app. There was this preset in there. It's a free preset, by the way. the app costs money, but there is a sound bank that you can download for free. I think what's his name? Doc from the Sound Test Room showcased it on his channel. It's like a sound bank made by Spider Eyes Midas. It has some really really amazing sounds, and the brass sound that you hear in my single was actually made by one of Spider Eyes Midas's presets, tweaked around. I think I kind of slaughtered that preset just to make it sound how I wanted it.
Yeah.
But I think it actually sounds like legit, like a legit brass section. And I was really impressed with the Continue app and all the different options you have in it.
And again, Bubba's just written in the chat. Thanks, Tom. Jade is costing me money again, and I'm sitting here too, looking at it, going, "Far out, man! Another $15."
That's on you, man. I'm not making. I'm not pointing a gun at you to say, hey, buy some iTunes cards or something.
I feel so guilty each day. I've got a daily show where I'm just saying to people, "Hey, this is cool. Spend money."
No. We are all responsible for what we do ourselves.
Yeah, damn straight.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
Another thing, another app that I really recommend if you record or do vocals is Bruce Free.
Yes.
It's also something Pete Johns made a video on that. I was kind of skeptical, like, okay, yeah, the noise, I couldn't get rid of it. I had this problem before, and I think Pete can remember that I sent him this. I had this issue. I had this cheap microphone by iRig, which you could connect with the aux cord, the aux plug on your iPad.
Yeah.
And I could hear German radio chatter through my headset.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, I think I was like hearing the weather predictions in Munich.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it was really really weird. I brought it back to the store that I bought it from. It's like a pretty big store in Belgium. Like, it's internationally known with a lot of bands and musicians. And I took it in and I said, yeah, I have this issue with my microphone. It only cost like $21, and they thought, like, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna keep it for a few weeks to tell us we fixed it and send it back to them.
Yeah, right.
but they checked it and they heard nothing. And then it occurred to me, they do their repairs in like this, this metal box.
Yeah,
Nothing
anti-static
comes through,
soundproof
signals.
room.
Yeah. So it's like, no, you come to my room and you come fix it there, because then you'll hear the issues that I'm having. But they were like, well, yeah, I don't know what else we could do for you. So yeah, now I still have a broken, not a broken, but a partly functional microphone.
I'm not going to have my... I won't say anything about my opinion of IK Multimedia gear. I like their apps, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I'm just not into their gear. It just is what it is,
Yeah. Fine.
They
fine.
put a tax on
I'm
just
into
for...
the gear also.
I just don't like it. The main thing I bitch about it is they put a higher price on something just because it had a lightning port. So it was kind of like taking advantage of the lightning port. Yeah. And all along, here's Pete every day going, get the official adapter, the Apple adapter. But that's all you need to do.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have that like embroidered on a shirt or something. Your mileage may vary.
Get that one sorted.
Yeah. No, all in good fun. Really, no, to be honest, actually, thanks to Pete's videos, I actually started, learn a lot more about GarageBand. Thanks to him, I learned about automation. So, yeah, that was a game changer also.
Yeah.
He makes things very accessible.
He does. I think we've all got a Pete Johns story, how we came across him. And he's a wonderful person. He's here in the chat, and I've met him personally, and I'll tell you what, his head just doesn't get big. He's a really genuine, amazing guy. So thank you, Pete, for all you do.
Pete will stay humble as usual.
Anything else you've got to show us app-wise?
Let me see. I have my iPad open right here. Well, honorable mentions are Sample Tank.
Yep.
Which is they have pretty good sounds and sound banks. They're a bit pricey. They're Interap audio and not AUV3.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get it out there.
So I've got it on my screen, $38.99 here in Australia. I don't own it, and then you got to pay for all the packs and everything too. So
yeah,
it gets costly.
It is. I'm just going to see here. No, that should be about it. The only another app that I would recommend is iSymphonic.
Yeah, man.
iSymphonic is also a really good app. You can get these I'm really picky with my sounds. I hardly like any song just as it comes. I always have to tweak it around a bit to just get it to sound how I want it to sound.
Yeah.
And so mostly I put an effect on it, or some echo or some reverb or some I put the bass down or the bass up. It's just how I want it to sound. But to get it all together, still the Dolby On app. It's I think I'm going to play around with it all the time after I mix it in GarageBand, and if I think it sounds good, I'll probably just export it to Dolby On and see if I can get the mix balanced pretty much a bit more.
It's an amazing app by Symphonic. It's probably the only app I've ever paid for and then unlocked everything, and it took me time. I think it took me over 2 years to slowly get everything.
Yeah,
but
build up on the
my one complaint is I wish they would just put they didn't mix all the instruments throughout the packs. Clearly they've done it for to make everybody buy it. But it's it's worth it anyway. But there were some times where it was like, oh my god, right now I need this, and having to go through all the I can't tell you how many times, Thomas, I've watched the sample videos of each pack.
Yeah.
Just going.
yeah.
Maybe I'll see another instrument that I've missed on the 100th time.
Yeah.
Before.
But still, the instrument videos are very compressed. They only show 5 sounds.
Yeah.
And there could be this one banger sound in there that they chose not to showcase.
Yeah, it's disappointing. But I've done a show on it too. If you've got the money and you really want to create some fantastic orchestral sounds, it really is the way to go. I can see Sion's here in the chat. Welcome, latecomer. And yes, Thomas did mention Beat Hawk, so it's already been mentioned. And that's about it I'm gathering for all your apps. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to ask you this final question, and we'll say goodbye to you. So then I'll announce this competition, so you're just not hanging there and feeling like the third wheel of a competition, because I want you to be the star over a fucking competition.
Okay.
But
I only have one announcement to make.
Yes.
There is something coming up.
Awesome.
I have been working together with someone I've worked together with recently, and someone you've heard in the latest GarageBand Live show. It's with Stefan Kirby. He made a song, and he asked me if I could add some synthesizers to it. And to be honest, that was a very, very fun experience. That's coming up in the next few days, next few weeks. When it's ready, it'll be there, and it'll be amazing. It's just an endearing song. Whenever I hear it, I get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. So you could look forward to that.
Awesome. You've heard it here first. Yes. Well, it's definitely something I will be jumping on. So this will be the last question I'll fire at you. When do you think is the best time for somebody to start creating music, and how?
The best moment to start making music is as soon as you're able to think about music. As long as if you have ears and you have a good hearing and you have something that you can, you can imagine, you can make music in your mind every time. I make music every time when I'm, doing the dishes, when I'm cleaning up, when I'm driving around. I can think about music in every detail that I want. I can even make up music if I want. That's how I got my first single. And when you have a tune in your head, keep it in your head, get behind your instrument, and start to get it in your hands, get it in your fingers. And anytime when you spend you spend a few moments on it, you could build it up into something that you could have never thought. That's what happened with me.
Awesome.
Start as soon as possible.
As Nike says, do it. Just do it. Thank you so very much for your time today, Thomas Geleyn. For those of you who are interested in finding more about this wonderful artist, there are links to his single using SongWhip, so you can get it across all the digital streaming services. There's a link to his Facebook page, his YouTube channel, so you can keep up to date with videos and latest stuff coming out. Plus, also the Soundcloud link is there also. So go ahead after the show, click, go like, join, follow, all that stuff. Support this.
Also important to note, on my SoundCloud, all my covers are free to download because, I don't ask money for my covers. It's just, the artists deserve all the money who created the original.
Yeah.
I just, I make it for the folks out there. It's only my original work that I ask some money for.
Fantastic. Not only an amazing artist, folks, but a decent human being. Somebody who I'm really glad to have got to know over the last couple of days, a lot better, and during this interview. So thank you so much for your music. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm really glad you came along today. And wish you all the luck for your future. And we'll have you on the next time you've got a single out. And I hope you'll come back.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on, Jade. Thank you all you guys in the chat, for listening to me, for supporting me eventually. No one's forcing you. But still, thanks for having me around, Jade. It was a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you. You have a great day, my friend. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, everybody. Well, so don't leave. Thank you so very much, Thomas, for hanging out. Let's flick down to my old usual main screen here. We're going to give away a prize now for the competition that was running yesterday, just to wrap things up. So we've had, let's bring this screen up. Well, we've got it here. This is split screen. If you're not using this on your iPad, folks, we can have two apps running. It's really amazing. A lot of people aren't using it. So we've got 13 entries, and I'm going to generate. We've got 5 Bias FX, 2 standard licenses to give away, and I'm going to hit generate 5 times, and everybody's name is there. Let's go full screen so you can see what's going on. And let's do the generation stuff. So I'm going to need to put a little asterisk next to each person's name. Let's go for the first one. Boom. Number 4. So that is SM Borthwick. We'll put a asterisk there. So congratulations, SM Borthwick. Number 2, Alex LX has won one. We are going with, this is riveting stuff, this. Darren Bryant has won a copy of Bias FX2, well, a license. Gives a generate. Oops. 4's already taken. 6, Rockhart Music is done. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got one more to give away. And let's hit the magic generate button. And Sion has picked up one. There we go, folks. As you can see, it's all done above board. So the Tattersalls crew, we've got Ron, Christina and Joey from Tattersalls here to make sure it's all above board. Anybody from Australia will only get that, so that's Pete. He's probably laughing at that if he's still here. Well, that is the Friday show, folks. We have banged another week of music. Of Guitar Week is over, and we wrapped it up with an amazing artist there with Thomas Geleyn. I'll let you know what's happening for next week. Let's just get over here. I've still got a camera. Hey, there I am. So I'll let you know what's going on next week. Next week will be Vocal Week, and what I'm planning on doing is kicking off with a miniature tour around my studio. And we're going to take you inside my vocal booth, which I built myself, which is just here next to me. Going to run through some of the gear that I use, and then we're going to be looking at some vocal apps. A whole bunch of really cool vocal apps for doing things like auto-tune, for really getting solid sounding vocals and real punchy vocals, for getting harmonies and all that kind of stuff. I've got an absolute bunch of great apps, and we're going to be looking at as well something a little bit different. We're going to be comparing an app. I'll show it to you now before we finish the show. Where are we? Vocal apps. We're going to be looking at a vocal app called Voice Rack FX. And the reason that is because it's made by TC Helicon. And recently I purchased a where are we? Let's get back over here. I purchased a TC Helicon actual unit, which is virtually that app. So we are going to compare the app to the hardware and see if it cuts the mustard with the real deal. So that's what's going on next week. We also have another great interview coming up next week. I can announce it now. We've got Joey Helpish, who's got his new album being released next week as well. So that's going to be really fucking cool. So I hope you can all join me next week for Vocal Week. And I get to do some singing on my SM58. Yeah, I feel like I'm at a live gig and not in lockdown. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you again, Thomas. I can see you in the chat there. Thanks for supporting the channel as you all do so generously since this has kicked off such a short while. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Like me on Facebook, and my Patreon is coming too. Click the subscribe button that are appearing on your screen now for the people watching the replay. And there's a playlist of videos that you can click on the screen too. So until next week for Vocal Week, I'll see you all then, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And as usual, ciao for now. Stay gangster. Stay true. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye.